Hey everybody, it's Christy, and we have a great guest for you today. And I can hardly wait for you guys to see this. He's not on with me yet, but rest assured, he just texted me, and he said he is about to jump on. So I'm just going to shoot the breeze with you guys while we do wait for Greg. Kind of let you know a little bit about him, and then if he's still not in, hey, we'll just chat a little bit, and he should be jumping in anytime now. So I saw Greg, the RVCarnivore, on Alia's channel. And I watch a lot of live streams now that I'm doing this. Oh, here he is right now. I'm going to go ahead and add him in. Hey, there he is. There he is.
How are you?
Hey, there's Greg. We are live, Greg. I was just starting to get into the background information about you.
Okay, well, super.
Yeah. So I was just telling them that I saw your interview with Alia Wells.
And
I couldn't look away. And so I'm like, I got to contact this guy. And
that's awesome.
Get him, because your story was just so compelling.
Yeah.
It just kept getting better and better. So, people are on here talking about, hi, Greg, and that this is a great time for a live. And so I hope you guys enjoyed Greg's story as much as I did. I'm gonna like give the floor over to you, Greg, and then audience, if you guys have questions, just put like a Q or a question mark in front of there, and then I'll go ahead and try to highlight those so Greg can get to those for you. So, Greg, do you want to tell us about you? Oh, Greg, we're having some technical difficulties. You're frozen currently. We'll see if Greg comes back on. Think of some questions for Greg, because this is an amazing story. Hopefully he fixes his tech here. I don't know if he can hear me. I'm going to text him and let him know he's frozen in case he doesn't know. Give me a second. Okay, so hopefully he sees that. Oh, there he is. He's back. Okay. Let me add the new Greg to the
I think
stage.
I got too far from the Wi-Fi signal.
Okay. I'm going to hopefully. There we go. We're fixed. We're good. Okay. So you guys, thanks for hanging in. Like, nobody left. I've got the same number of viewers as I had before. So they want to hear your story.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to have to reset how I have my setup here because my battery I let go bad. Oops.
Okay, no worries.
So we'll just do this. I'll just put this right here. How's that? Y'all are going to hear my dog in the background. He hears me out here and he's going to sit there and bark. If that's too annoying, let me know.
We're good with it. We live in the real world here.
That's how it is. Hey, if we're going to do Zoom meetings, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, all right, you now have my undivided, non-moving around attention. How's that?
That's great. Thank you. I would just like you to share with us your whole story. I believe you had been eating carnivore for about 3 months. Do I have that right? And then something happened. So
something happened. That's a great way to say it.
That's one way to say it, right?
Yeah, something happened. That's a great way to say it. So let's see. Let's go back in time. It was December 2nd of 2019. Before COVID was a problem here. It was a COVID elsewhere in the world, but not here. And not here in America, that is. And I was supposed to be going on a mission trip with my church on Wednesday. I'm going to say that was the 3rd, 4th or 5th. Anyhow, I had a cold. Doctor said I needed to take an oral steroid called methylprednisolone. I said, no, I don't like steroids. I don't like the way they make me feel. He said, then I have to cancel my trip. Well, I'm not going to tell Jesus that I'm not going on a mission trip for Hurricane Dorian survivors. So I took the pill. 15 hours later, I was face down on the floor of my home. My wife picked me up, dragged me to the bathroom where I went to the restroom and then dry heaved for about 30 minutes. And she finally convinced me that it was okay to go to the hospital. I was kicking and screaming. And she literally threw me over her shoulder and put me in the car, took me to the local ER 5 minutes away. And doctors came in and explained to her that I would not be alive the next day, that I had suffered a brainstem stroke and that nobody survives these. And they were surprised that I was still alive, which I thought was kind of unusual, but God had a better plan for me. So they got me, I guess, they put drugs in me to try to reduce swelling, which really didn't do anything. And next morning I woke up and there I was alive looking at 4 doctors who couldn't believe it. And I was told quite, I don't know, Indian doctors are very much engineers. They lack bedside manner, which in some cases is good. Not all Indian doctors are this way, but every single one I've ever introduced myself to was this way. And he said, what is your lifestyle? And I explained it to him. And he said, well, you don't eat vegetables. And I said, no, I don't eat vegetables. And he said, well, why not? You need your vitamins. I said, I get all of those from beef. And I understand you're Hindu, but I eat vegans. My vegans stand on 4 hooves. And not to be disrespectful, but it is a lifestyle that's worked really well for me. And he said that was impossible. I said, didn't you just tell me that surviving a brainstem stroke was the impossible thing? And he said, well, you're the one in the bed. And that kind of struck me. I actually fired that doctor. I don't like people speaking to me that way. It's just not right. So that's a story I've never told. I've told it to a few people in person, but I figured it's okay to say it now. So the long and the short of it is that after a discussion with Dr. Baker via text messaging, he suggested that he had never met a brainstem stroke survivor either, and that it was a very rare event, and carnivore is what saved my life. So
wow, that's amazing.
There it is.
I know. I made the thumbnail based on what you had said to Alia about the doctor basically coming in and telling your wife, like, I'm going to break protocol and you can stay in here because he's not going to be waking up in the morning. That was the line that just, floored me. And I had to put that in the thumbnail and kind of highlight that part of the story. So this is my friend
exactly
Mike.
what he told her.
Yeah. This is my friend Mike. He says, God must love you or something.
That's exactly what he told her. He said to her, we're going to break protocol.
You are frozen, my friend. I think there you are.
Okay, hello. I'm still here.
You're a little bit glitchy. There you are. You're a little bit glitchy in and out. Okay. I'm gonna hope for the internet's gonna reconnect.
The mountains of Georgia.
The mountains of Georgia. Okay, that's amazing. So after that first night, and you survived the first night, then what happened? Like, how did your recovery go? What symptoms did you have? Like, how did that all happen?
It's very.
I'm very sorry. You're mostly more out than in, Greg, if you can hear me. Yes. Oh, maybe he's going to try to disconnect and reconnect. You guys, I'm sorry. He's in the mountains of Georgia right now, so they don't have great internet there. Hopefully he's going to rejoin us, you guys. Yes, we need some carnivore help desk, Mike. Carnivore help desk. I'm in the mountains of Georgia. How do I get internet? Yeah, it's okay, Mike. You know what? I've got that carnivore calm. I am not. Mike says, I'm sorry, Christy. Live is fun. Yeah, this is how it goes sometimes. I'm hoping he's going to pop back in. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay. We're just waiting for Mike to pop back in. I think he's having some internet connection issues in the mountains of Georgia. I mean, for Greg. Mike is not in Georgia. Yes, let's send him a wheelbarrow of internet. He's hopping back in now. We're going to try this.
Yeah, the internet seems to be working fine here, but it just glitches. So
Yeah, you're really glitchy. Like your audio is mostly fine, but your picture is super like jumpy and glitchy. And then all of a sudden the audio will go out, and then the next thing I know, you're leaving and coming back.
If you see that happen again, do like this so that at
Okay.
least I know.
Okay. Okay.
So okay, so we left off at the doctor told my wife they were going to break protocol and let her sleep in the bed with me because I wasn't going to wake up in the morning. So
Yes.
to answer somebody, I think Michael maybe said, God must love you. And Rhonda says, God has a purpose for your life. Yes. Yes, indeed he does. And that's the purpose right there. It's to spread the message for people like Christy to interview me so that we can all talk. So there.
Yeah, so you can see a little bit behind him. I'm going to attempt, you know what, I should have
Oh,
went
we're going
back.
to do this. How about that?
I can't. Okay, here we go. Watch. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope you guys can all see that. I don't so this is his RV. This is why he is the RV carnivore. So you can see how he's got the chuck, the brisket, the neck, the ribs. This is great. So here is his RV.
Yep,
And
here we are.
yep. All right.
We're live.
See if I can come back. I'm like
Can
learning
you?
how to do all this stuff. There we go. And I'm back. Okay, I can see you guys again. So yeah, that's his RV. Oh yes, and he walked away so you guys can see it live there. That is so awesome.
And this is where I am. I'm in the North Georgia mountains.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
I'm avoiding hurricanes.
good for you. There's a hurricane, you just drive away.
That's
Mike,
exactly why I live in an RV.
yeah, Mike Shaw's hilarious. He says, in case you ever wanted to eat an RV, now we know the best cuts.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. I have heard that a few times. That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so basically everyone is like amazed and they say that God has a plan for you, and then you shared your RV. So how does that play into this plan?
Well, it's actually pretty amazing. I've had two experiences so far that I think are the most profound. The one is involves a canine, and the other one involves a female that I met in February. I just finished the RV. I took it to a local campground because I don't like leaving it unplugged. And I took it to a local campground, set up shop. And by set up shop, I mean I just set up the RV. Pretty much just like you saw in the photo with the KetoCon event. And a lady stopped, and this is, I can almost say this is what I'll hear 9 out of 10 times. Are you a meat truck? No, I'm not a meat truck. Are you a butcher? No, just for myself. Are you a barbecue champion? Nope, just for myself. Then what's this all about? And before I had the RV Carnivore written on it, no QR codes, before all that was done, I explained that I'm just on a mission to try to spread a good word of eating healthy foods. And that means really not eating carbs, not eating aka sugar, not eating seed oils, not drinking alcohol. Clean up your act, clean up your life, because if you do that, you can probably stop taking medications. And I had so many great responses from that. And then, of course, I had a lot of negative responses. Oh, I could never give up my, you name it, Oreos. I can't give up my alcohol. I can't give up my beer, whatever. Okay. I would tell people in a very kind way, you're just telling me what your weaknesses are. And you're telling me that you're not a strong person. And that would make people second guess their own answer. It's not me judging them because I tell them very clearly, I am not your judge. I am not a jury. I'm just trying to speak to this thing right inside here, your heart, and I'm trying to connect your brain to it. That's all. So this lady says, well, explain this to me because I have to lose 40 pounds in order to have hip replacement surgery. And I said, okay, this is what you should do. I'm not a doctor. All I can tell you is that if you pay attention to eating these style foods, this is going to provide results for you. And then, of course, yes, nourishment redacted Ellie. Yes, it is a lot of fun. Putting the right food in front of you or on your fork will change your energy levels, and the side effect is that you lose weight. So if you're looking for a diet, this could be that, but I hate that D word. And she said, well, here's what I eat in a day. So I didn't even have to ask. And when she said she eats a package of Oreos, I said, okay, so how many comes in a pack? And she goes, gosh, I've never counted. I said, what? Well, like, you're talking about the little 6-pack, right? The travel pack? She said, no, Greg, the family size.
Yeah, look at his face. I mean, I'm guilty of eating a sleeve for sure in a sitting.
Right.
In my
I
former
said, I
life,
said,
oh,
I said, okay, now you, Lori, have to explain to me, how often do you eat that? She said, every single day.
in your face.
I couldn't believe it. And I
Yeah.
said, okay, hold on. I pulled out my phone and I did the quick math and I said, okay, the average human should have about 100 grams per deciliter, 100 milliliters. I don't recall what the scientific term is, but let's just say 100 should be your blood sugar. You're consuming just in that every day almost 500 grams of sugar. And she went, is that a lot? I said, well, you tell me. You're only supposed to have 100 in your blood at any given time. You've got 500 in one snack between your 2 glasses of milk and that. She said, oh, my word, what should I do? I said, stop, but don't stop cold turkey because that'll kill you. We're going to wean you off of that. Why don't we start with you eat half of a pack today, not the whole, and then let's move that in a week down to like one sleeve, and then let's move that down to like one or two and forget the milk. And she said, I can do that. She called me a little over 2.5 months later, crying. And she said, Greg, I owe you my life. I said, no, you don't owe me anything, but what are you talking about? She measured herself in men's clothing sizes. She said, Greg, I went from a size 52 to a size 36
Wow.
in under 3 months. She said,
Wow.
not only did I call my doctor and tell him I was ready for my surgery, Greg, I lost 63 pounds. I said, well, that's profound. Good for you. I'm kicking myself for not doing a before and after with you. And she said, it's okay. We'll do a before and after sometime. But she said, I've still got a long way to go. And she really doesn't have that far to go. But if she lost another 60 pounds, she's going to be fantastic. But she said, Greg, it's beyond the weight loss. I don't need to sleep like I used to. I feel amazing. I want to go ride a bike. I want to go walking. And I said, that's what it's all about. And you're experiencing the side effect of weight loss. So, of course, with her mobility issues, she can't move as much as she wanted to, but she was. She dropped her cane. She wasn't using her cane anymore, which was amazing to me. So currently, Lori, I know you're up in Vermont right now getting that hip surgery, and I hope that everything goes fantastic. I really actually need to reach back out to her. But yeah, the
Yeah.
second story came last week. Here at this campground, I've got some friends who are from Central Florida also, and they're moving up here and they've built a cabin in the woods and they're living in their RV on site until that's finished. And I used to have a large Reese's peanut butter cup Sonic Blast. Oh, those are so good. Pretty efficient way
Right?
to gain weight.
But it
Mike,
is
I
an
would say,
efficient way to gain weight. Yeah.
Mike, I would say that's probably the most efficient way. So, um, my friends had this beautiful dog named Luna, and she was probably 12 or 13, gray muzzle, very, very sweet and very calm demeanor. My dog's best friend up here. And I could let him out and he would run straight to their RV every time. They told me last week, actually, it was 2 weeks ago. They said, Greg, we've got some really bad news. We're going to have to put Luna down. And I said, why is that? Well, she's got cancer. Well, we went on a four-wheeling trip that day. They took me out for a couple of hours. We romped around the woods of North Georgia with Luna. They were in one Jeep. Well, I was in one Jeep with the husband. Luna and her mom were in the other Jeep. And she was just a trooper all the way through. They put her down the next day. That night, though, we were here cooking on my grill. I made steaks for everybody. And we took a cut of steak and Steve kept that cut of steak for Luna. The next day after they put her down, he said, Greg, you'd be pleased to know that not only did she enjoy every bite of that steak, it was her last meal.
Aww.
That made me feel good. So knowing that a beautiful dog enjoyed my wonderful steak for her last meal and she went to dog heaven with that steak in her belly makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So
Well, so I know that you went, you started your carnivore way of eating about 3 months before your stroke. Can you tell us more
mhm.
about that decision? Like, why did you, because you didn't do it after the stroke for healing, like you did it before. So like what
Right.
prompted you to even do that in this crazy crazy meat thing?
Good question. Let's go back to until 2015, I was 250 to 260. That was my average. And I turned 40 and I was 254. I remember that clearly. And I did not look healthy, but I had a big grin on my face. And I moved to Florida and I started running in 2016. And I was running 25 miles a week. I was going through a pair of expensive Brooks running shoes every month and a half. I cycled about 100 miles a week. I CrossFit 3 days a week. So when I wasn't running, I was killing myself in CrossFit. Big, big, bad decision because I was breaking myself and I didn't realize it. And one day I decided I was going to take a break. There I am. That
There
was
you
a
are.
half marathon around the Daytona Speedway. So I was out exercising a bad diet, or so I thought. And I tore my gastric muscle, which is part of your calf muscles. And when I did that, I was sidelined for almost 6 months and literally confined to a wheelchair, a scooter, or crutches. And I couldn't move my foot. And once I healed, I decided it was time to start running again, just taking it easy. And I stretched or didn't stretch, ran with my daughter. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got my story wrong. Brainstem stroke. Sorry. I've got dead
That's
spots up
okay.
here. Let's go back. I was running. Then I realized I was hurting myself really badly. So I gave my body rest. I was down for about almost 2 months where I was doing really light stuff, walking, not running, staying out of the gym because I had torn my muscles far too much and I had to rebuild my life. And in that break, my fiance and I went to the beach with her daughter, and the daughter wanted to race me. So I said, okay, well, I'm not going to race because I'm not even stretched out. And before I finished saying that phrase, I was already 20 yards away from her. And she's like, oh, he's a cheater. And she took off after me. Well, then I got to the end and, and I faked like I was out of breath. I just can't do this, Janessa. I can't do this again. I don't know why I did this. And I took off in a run again. And she took off after me like, oh, he did it again. Well, when I turned around, I heard a pop. I fell over. That's when I found out I'd hurt myself. So the super long story short, in recovery, I gained a lot of weight. I probably put 30 pounds back on. And there's actually a picture that I sent you of me standing next to my mother-in-law, and I was down about 25 pounds from the 30 pounds that I was up. She's the one that got me into carnivore. She said, try this, it might work for you. So I did, fell in love with it. It was easy, loved cooking steaks all the time, got really good at it. Didn't know I was such a bad steak chef before.
Yeah.
Now I was really good at it. Then I had my stroke. So I did not have the stroke because of carnivore. I survived the fatal stroke because of carnivore. And I went from trying to out exercise a bad diet to learning the proper diet to then now being able to get back to a gym and trying to be a healthy, fit individual again. Believe it or not, today I started my first day in the gym since my stroke because after my stroke, my mom passed away. Um, I didn't get into the gym because COVID became an issue. They closed everything down. I started drinking copious amounts of alcohol with my stepfather because I was depressed, and I am not ashamed to admit that. And he said that I reminded him of my mom. And so he kept me around a lot. So every day it went from just eating the burger patties with the cheese at Wendy's to eating the whole burger with the bun because it was easier than, oh, well, they come with fries, so I'll eat the fries too. What's it going to hurt me to, yeah, I'm going to have the Frosty. And then, yeah, let's have another glass of bourbon. Before you know it, I was back up to 250. And that's when we got into this RV with the family. We traveled around the country. That became an exercise in day drinking. So 9 o'clock in the morning, Bloody Marys. Noon in the pools. We had, well, I'm trying to be strong, Ellie, but I'm not that strong. Um, Drinking Mick Ultras in the pool at noon turned into 6 p.m. vodka with diet Sprite because diet's better for you, and eating horribly. And before you know it, I was fat again. And I told my wife, August of 2022, we had just left the Keto Summit in Orlando. I had just met Dr. Barry, and I had talked to him about this crazy idea I had. He said, sounds good, do it. And I told my wife, this is the only thing I can do now is hold myself accountable, because I cannot step out of that door right there and be 250 pounds. And people say, why is that? You only eat meat? Well, no wonder you're such a fat guy. So
Yeah,
brisket is my accountability partner.
absolutely. I know I did it just reminded me of this. So I did a 30-day sprint challenge last month because I've started focusing on my fitness now that I've met like my weight loss goal. And
Good.
I mean, some days the only thing that got me out there was I'm going to have to post this on my channel, and I don't want to have to post that I didn't do it. Right?
Right.
You can't be driving around with the RV painted up with meat. and it's like, I can't do it. So I can't say I'm going to do a 30-day sprint challenge and then post, oh, sorry, I didn't do it today, guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we find ways to find ourselves accountable, because let's be honest, our spouses, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, they can't keep us accountable. It's hard enough for anybody else to try to do what we're doing. And of course, we're the devil. We're so wrong for making this choice while they're shoving a Big Mac into their mouth. Somebody holding a beer. This is my new beer, by the way. This is LaCroix. I haven't had anything to drink since March, and I feel phenomenal for it. But
that's amazing.
that was the biggest change I could make in my life, and I didn't realize it. And I haven't lost the weight because of that. I have gained a totally clear mind because of that. And I have such a different outlook now. But yeah, it's in the face of everybody else who thinks that we're crazy, including our spouses and girlfriends and boyfriends. We have to stay strong some way, somehow. So if it's running, then it's running. If it's a 43-foot RV that looks like a butcher map, then that's what it takes, right?
What it takes. So can you tell us a little more about, like, so after the stroke, and you told us about like the doctor came in and you weren't going to live the night, but then you did live the night. But then we kind of ended there with like your healing process. So I imagine you didn't just wake up the next day and you were just back to normal.
Correct.
Right? Like you probably had some symptoms, like you didn't die, great, but like how because right now, looking at you, if I didn't know that happened to you, I wouldn't have thought that you had this traumatic thing happen.
Yeah, that's a normal observance, actually. I liken it to PTSD. So if you've ever met anybody who has PTSD from whatever trauma happened in their life, most often now it's war, it's overseas activity. You can't tell somebody's PTSD until it's evident. And it's kind of like a dog. A dog doesn't have PTSD until fireworks are shot off on the 4th of July. Okay. And for me, you can't see my stroke until either I have a brain fart like I just did, or you see me limping because my foot is dropped and my pain is just horrible and I can't hide it from anybody, or I'm extremely fatigued. And I've actually been very fatigued the last couple of days, probably because I started out at the gym again. But I've had some pretty tough times. So in the hospital, they did give me some drugs, but there really wasn't anything they could do. They couldn't push TPA on me. That's the clot buster. They couldn't push that on me because they were worried that would make things worse. They couldn't stop any pain because I didn't really have much pain. Because again, it was in my brainstem, not in my head. And people who have brain hemorrhage, a stroke in their brain, the swelling in their brain is almost unbearable, from what I'm told. I remember vividly sitting in the hospital bed and hearing people moan, and it sounded like this about every 15 seconds from the same room. And that went on all day and all night because the poor guy was dying from the pain. And I never had that. So I was very fortunate. But what I did have was this entire side of my face, my right side was swelled out. Right brain, left side, left brain, right side, except for your eyes, because your eyes are already mirrors of each other. I learned so much about this. Yep, there's that wonderful picture. That's my right eye. That's my new no poker face. I can't hold a smile if I've got a poker hand. I can't hold that because my right eye actually shuts on me, just like you see there. If something makes me really happy or makes me really sad, the response is my face doing that right there, minus the swelling. And so what that means is that while I was sitting in the hospital room trying to figure out my life, I wasn't feeling the fact that the left side of my body wasn't working anymore. It worked. I didn't have any feelings. So if you can imagine stepping up off the sofa after sitting cross-legged, watching a show, and then you go to stand up and your foot is completely dead, or sometimes people have both feet go dead. That's exactly what the whole left side of my body felt like. Basically, it felt like it was made out of wood. And I couldn't feel sensation on my arm. I couldn't feel it on my leg. True story, we went to get in a hot tub. My old hot tub, I gave it to my father-in-law. And when I went to step in the hot tub, I put my left leg in first because my right leg was stability. And when I did, I yanked it back out and I said, "You guys are nuts. It's not even on." Not really realizing my sister-in-law is sitting in the hot tub looking at me like I'm crazy through steam coming up in front of her. And she said, "Greg, it's 104 degrees. What do you mean?" And that was the first time I realized I couldn't feel water temperature on my left side. So when I got in the water, it was the weirdest thing. I could feel this, like you could draw a line right down the middle of my body and I couldn't feel that side. No temperature sensation at all. But the pressure from water on my body was unbearable. So that took a lot to handle the hot tub. And I ended up getting out because I couldn't take it. But fast forward to going to the beach in January of 2020 and standing in the water, and I couldn't stand in the water and feel the water on my left side. So the water was 60 degrees. I didn't know it. I'm literally standing in water that on my right side I could feel it, but on my left side I couldn't feel it at all. And that was really remarkable to me. So I ended up laying down in the water. I had to get help, to get back up, but I laid down in the water and was shocked that it wasn't running me out of the water. My friends are standing there looking at me like I'm crazy for even being in the water in the first place. So the neuropathy was an issue. The left side dead was an issue. I still had mobility. I had no balance. I had to learn to walk again. I couldn't drive. I couldn't surf. I couldn't ride a bike. All the things that I did, gone. And I had no hope of getting it back. My doctors literally told me, "We have no timeline. You shouldn't even be here anyways. So how could we possibly give you an idea of recovery? We don't know."
Because people don't come back, so they have nobody to compare you to.
Exactly. And they even told me that they'd never actually spoken to a brainstem stroke survivor because the majority of the time they were dead. And if they weren't dead, they lasted about 24 hours because 23 hours of that was spent by the family arguing over who was going to unplug the person from the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty profound stuff.
Yeah.
So I had a lot to come back from. And I was okay with that because, look, I'm not just a Christian. I don't believe in religion. I have a personal relationship with Christ. He's sitting right here next to me. You don't see him. I don't see him, but I know he's here. He's all around me. And I didn't see a white flash. I didn't see my life flash before me. Everything was pitch black and my eyes were wide open. I remember that. I remember even feeling and touching my eye and making it close, not realizing that my eyes were open, but everything was black. But I never saw the tunnel and everything that you hear people talk about. I didn't see that. So either God didn't have space for me yet, or it's not true what people say. I don't know. All I know is that I was ready to die. I even told my wife. She was my fiance at the time, and I said, "Marry somebody else. It's not going to be me because I'm not going to come out of here." And she said, "No, no, 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 don't talk that way." I said, "No, I'm not saying I don't want to be here. I'm saying I'm okay if I go. It's totally cool. I'm 49. I've lived a really good life. I've got 2 daughters. I've got a grandchild at the time, just one. Everything was fine. And I wasn't scared. I think that was the biggest thing. The fear was completely gone. In fact, I didn't have fear when I was at my house laying on the floor. I thought, well, if this is the way I go, this is the way I go. It beats the heck out of a fiery car crash. So I'm okay with that. But I had this overwhelming peace. And I think that's probably where I find it very sad that People out here in this world don't understand what that level of peace can be. And there's only one way you're going to get that level of peace. Because I've seen so many people at the end, and the last things they say is, "Dear God, please help me." And these are people who were atheists. These are people who didn't believe in God. And at the very end, they wanted God. I used to be a police officer. I've seen the worst of the worst. There's really nothing out there I haven't seen. I can't be shocked into submission. I can't be surprised. And now I am just saddened to hear that people don't understand that if you have that feeling, it doesn't matter what happens to you. It's good. So that's where I was.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. I think I heard you talk about, so you said you had that kind of line down your body where one side could feel and one side couldn't. Have you gotten any relief from that, or is it still like that today?
Now, the most amazing thing happened. I guess it was the end of August. I was in Burns, Tennessee at Amanda Decker's event, Low Carb Conference. And 8 days prior to that event, my closest friends in the whole wide world, Buzz and Bruce, that live just up the road from me in Florida, suggested that I start taking exogenous ketones because they were using them, and Bruce was feeling significant healing from the ketones. And I thought, well, okay, I can't even begin to tell you, I've spent as many thousands as it takes to buy that truck on various drugs to try to get myself back to where I could feel again. And I thought, okay, I'll try it. What do I buy? He said, just go onto Amazon and just look up exogenous ketones, and whatever you see, just buy it. It's probably going to be good. I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Well, sure enough, Dr. Boz's popped up first. Well, I had just interviewed Dr. Boz in May, and she's a friend. And by the way, that interview is coming out hopefully next week. It's only taken me since May to get that finished. Oh my gosh. I'm a perfectionist.
Is it going to be on your YouTube channel? I'm going to shout that out in a minute. Okay, awesome. I'll show you guys your YouTube channel in a minute when I telling this stuff.
It's a little over an hour long, so I'm going to break it up into several segments to make it easily digestible. But it's literally the best interview I've ever had with a doctor because she spills everything. She tells you everything. Anyways, I ordered that. It was $27.77. I paid for it out of my own pocket. Nobody sponsored me. Nobody said, hey, if you do this, we'll give it to you for free. None of that happened. 8 days later, I'm sitting in the Burns, Tennessee conference, and the lady next to me brushed up against me with her jacket, and I felt it on my skin. And I sat back, and she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, don't apologize. We'll talk later. And at the time, Dr. Westman was talking, and he was talking about healing power of ketones, of all things. And I realized that I could feel the scratch across my skin. And to put this in simple terms, imagine wearing a heavy set of leathers or maybe a pair of jeans where you can feel pressure, but you can't feel the sensation. You can't feel a nail scratching across your skin, but you can feel the presence of the nail. And yes, Mike, she's great. So I looked down at my arm in disbelief, and I started pulling my arm hairs, and I could feel that.
Wow.
And I almost started crying in the room, and I didn't know what had happened, but something happened. And I thought, okay, well, a miracle just took place, but why? And I thought about it, and I realized the only thing in my life that had changed is that I had started taking the BHB ketones. And I went home that night after talking for almost an hour with Dr. Westman about this happened while you were talking. And he said, oh, you were? Well, darn, I hope we met. When we talked, I said, I think this is what happened. He said, Greg, that's absolutely what happened. So he's encouraging me to start a Facebook group of people who have survived, especially brain trauma, that have used ketones and have felt a healing power through the ketones. And so I'm going to do that. It's just one of the many things that I have to do. I have to be a video editor. I have to shoot videos. I have to take care of an RV. I have to feed myself. I have to go to the gym. I have to run a website. I have to be available for interviews. Some way, somehow, I'm going to find time to do this page. But He wants me to pull together a group of people who have these experiences so that they can catalog it and do research papers to finally get the word out that this is working. So, yes, it was Dr. Boz's BHB ketones that I feel fixed me, because it's the only thing that changed in my life. To this day and right this minute, I can still pull on those arm hairs. I can still feel it. I can
Wow.
now hold a lighter under my arm and burn my skin and not just smell it, but I can feel it. So I don't do that anymore. That hat trick is gone.
Well, what a great thing to be gone, right? Remove that
Yes.
from your life.
Yes.
I know that Dr. Boz is really into, I mean, she's not like a brain doctor, but she's really interested in the brain, and she's done a lot of
Yes.
research into the brain, and she like runs classes on, I don't really know, like healing the brain and like brain injuries and also things like dementia and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she's, I'm sure was a, you know, I'm sure that was an excellent resource. Is are you still taking the ketones now, or did you just
Every day.
do every day?
Oh,
Okay.
every day. I take 2 a day every day, like clockwork. I can't not. Because once you finally have something that works, why would you stop doing it? Right?
Right.
And it's exogenous ketones. It's not like I'm taking OxyContin. It's not like I'm taking, what is it, fentanyl. I'm not doing anything like that. It is, I know this is what it was. I know in my heart this is what it was. I mean, I'm telling you, I have tried everything you can possibly think of, even acupuncture. Nothing worked. Now it does. So,
Yeah. That's amazing.
yeah.
Well, my
Yeah.
friend Mike, I'm not sure what he says. I haven't talked about this yet, but I have neuropathy in my right foot from swelling in my legs from blood clots because sepsis 6 years ago. Might be time to try some ketones.
Can I speak to that?
Yeah, please.
Mike, absolutely. Here's what I want you to do. You have to throw your body into a state of natural ketosis. You need to have the ketones flowing through your body naturally. The way to get there are plenty of videos that you can watch on YouTube from Dr. Berry, from Dr. Berg, from Dr. Boz. You must throw yourself into a state of ketosis. You can measure this by getting a device. I use one from KetoDoc, and thank you, Gemma. I love my KetoDoc. Use the KetoDoc, and once you know that you're eating properly, you're not throwing carbs into your body. Once you feel like it's time to start measuring your ketones, use that device, and you're going to check your blood. You're going to check you're going to check your blood glucose, and you're going to check your ketones. You want to get yourself to a therapeutic range, and keto-doc.com is the website where you can learn more about that. And they actually have what's called the GKI index. And I think it's important to understand what your glucose ketone index is, because in their chart, they'll tell you if you're this range to this range, you're at a therapeutic level. If you are at this range to this range, you better be under a doctor's care, kind of thing. You'll learn by doing this for yourself. And you need to also get these exogenous ketones. And honestly, it doesn't matter where you get them, but I know what worked for me. So I'm going to recommend Dr. Boz. It just so happens that now I do have an affiliate's link for that, so I can get that to you. And message me on Instagram. That's the quickest way to find me, the RVCarnivore. This isn't a plug. This is a recommendation that this is what worked for me, might work for you. It's not enough to just say, oh, well, I'm going to take exogenous ketones and I'm going to go eat French fries. It's not enough. You need to be in a state of ketosis anyways. And let's just say that the supply chain dried up. That's okay. The supply chain can dry up. You still need to be in a state of ketosis in order to feel the benefits of what these can do. I'm telling you, I've tried everything from medical marijuana to gabapentin to you name it. I've done it. Nothing worked until this, so it's worth trying.
Yeah, they're not that expensive, Mike. I would give it a try. I know, Mike, we've gotten to know each other. I want to say, somebody said earlier, I think I popped it up, but this carnivore community like is so supportive and helpful. Most of the people in here I've met just through doing this. My channel is a whole 1 month old. And it's like, yeah, there's no support like it. I mean, they're just on here, you know, hanging out with me today. Mike's been a carnivore for 45 plus days, really under, you know, Dr. Boz, I would say, Mike, just keep going. Mike and I are doing a fitness challenge together this month.
Good.
So what we are doing, I'm continuing to sprint, but this month we are doing squats and push-ups. So we got to do 100 squats a day. They can be broken up. I can't do 100 at a time, but I already got 100 in. And then my push-ups are, I'm up to where I can do 4 full push-ups, like real on my toe push-ups. And then today I did 16 modified push-ups after that. And
Good.
I'm trying for 10 full push-ups by the end of the month.
How about planks?
So I was supposed to do planks this month because I had a vote going, and then I sort of took a left turn with Mike, and we're doing push-ups and squats. I know, but I'm going to incorporate some planks. I did try a plank, and I can hold a plank for 60 seconds. I was pretty proud of myself.
That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic.
I was pretty proud of that.
You should do that. Yeah, so, throw planks in there. It's not a bad thing. It's very good. It's good for your core. And your core is what's the most important, because that's where you get your strength for your back. So that when you do sit-ups or you do push-ups or you do squats, your core will keep you balanced. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Core is probably the most fundamental issue.
Yes, I know it. I've had a couple, I don't think I've talked about this on here before, but I've had a couple hernia surgeries. I had 2 hernias right above my belly button due to the fact that when I was pregnant, everything, I had 2 pregnancies, everything stretched out, and, they were small. I don't have like any mesh or anything in there, but yeah, they had to stitch them up. And my stomach has always felt weaker. Like if I tried to do a sit-up, I would feel, or a crunch or anything, I would feel like I'm probably just going to pop those back out there. But I will tell you that on Carnivore, I don't feel like that anymore. So I have, like, even when I do my push-ups, I know that gets the core too. And like my stomach muscles feel a little bit sore, but I don't feel like at any minute, like my hernia is going to pop open.
That's fantastic.
So it's great. I mean, I just thought of that right now. That's a benefit I don't think I've talked about before, because I haven't talked about my hernias before.
Wow.
Yeah. So Mike says he just finished his squats while we were talking. So doing live streams is a great time to do squats. Since I'm the host, I could do it, but
good for you. Shoulders over your heels and keep your back straight.
That's right. Get them going. So
right on.
My friend Ellie here says that she's never met so many amazing people in my life, and she loves her carnivore family. I'm one of your carnivore family, Ellie. I love you too.
That's awesome. You know, and I was going to say, the anecdotal evidence in this lifestyle is profound. And I understand that a lot of people who eat a vegan diet, they have anecdotal evidence of their own. But we also know that comes from people who 84% of them come back to eating animal-based proteins and fats. I want to say this. It's vitally important that when you see a chat like this, or when you go on to Monday Night Live with Dr. Barry and his wife, Nisha, mute the channel. Just mute it. Don't even listen to Nisha and Ken. Just read the comments. And show me, and this is what I'll say to any vegan, show me a vegan channel or any channel that has the type of anecdotal evidence that you see from hundreds, if not thousands of people consistently every Monday night, all saying that they're healed from IBS, they're healed from Parkinson's, they're healing their cancer. Heal is a strong word. Yeah. And these people are doing it in days, weeks, and months.
Yeah. Most of the people on here already know my story, so I'm not going to go deep into it. But I had a pretty severe case of anxiety that I don't even think I realized I had until, like, I kind of just went carnivore, because I would rather eat ribeye than broccoli. Like, I started keto, and then I was like, you know what, broccoli, go away. Let's have an extra piece of ribeye instead. And then I just did that because I just liked the meat. I wasn't looking for anything other than weight loss when I started. And then the next thing I know, like I didn't have any more anxiety. Like I didn't even realize I was so anxious until it went away. And then it was like, oh my gosh, like I can talk to people. Like I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to go outside because people might look at me and think I was doing something weird, or I was
And you're a
worried.
teacher.
I'm a teacher. I can talk in front of kids, you know, but yeah, if I had to talk to parents, you know, yeah. And now it's like, I mean, I'm doing parent conferences right now, as you know, which is why we had to push our interview by 15
Right.
because I finished up my last parent conference and then rushed home to do this. But that's another thing too. Like I taught all day. I ran 5 parent conferences, 2 before school, 3 after, taught all day in between, came straight home. And now I'm doing this. And do I look tired? Do I seem tired?
You don't
Right.
seem it.
Right. And
That's
I'm not
awesome.
nervous. It's like I have all the energy. I can put myself out there like this and feel, you know, just happy to be talking to people and not like worried about, oh, like, do I have something on my face? Did I say something weird? Let me rerun that conversation in my head 6 times and make sure, you know, I potentially didn't say anything weird, or that, or what if I said it this way instead, or something.
Right.
Right. Like
Right.
all of that self-talk, it's just gone. And then the food freedom, where I don't think about it anymore. I don't know. I don't count anything anymore, but I'm for sure eating more than triple what I used to eat.
Wow.
And I'm putting on muscle, and but I'm maintaining my weight. Like, and I don't worry about, oh, if I'm going to eat this, I'm going to gain what, like, I don't worry about gaining weight anymore. And I used to obsess about it,
That's awesome.
about it. So
That's awesome.
Which, you know, just to say all of that. So obviously you've had the benefits of not dying from your stroke. That's a big one.
That's a benefit for sure.
That's a benefit. We all love that you're here. We're having a great time with
Thank you. Thank
but
you.
like, have you had any, like, I just mentioned a few, like there's more that I've had, but I just mentioned a few. Like, have you noticed any other thing? Like you said, the weight loss, you said not dying, which is awesome. Are there any other of the carnivore benefits that you've noticed?
Well, I will say this, and I do want to speak to this because I think it's important. I was overeating my steak, and I was not doing portion control. I was eating well more than I needed to, and now I am back to eating 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein, and then at least that same amount in fat. And I feel like I've been stuck at a plateau for quite a while. And now that I've realized my mistake, because we all make mistakes, I am fixing that. So back in the gym, eating less. I can say that my energy was much higher. I will say this: this is not a TMI moment, but when I was 40 to 45, I was taking testosterone injections because my T levels were in the toilet. And now I'm almost at 1,000. And I would say that my libido is literally through the roof. And it is entirely because I am not putting garbage in my body. I think another super benefit is an awareness. And the awareness is probably the most profound for mental health, because I see so much in a different light than I ever did. I think, of course, the stroke had a lot to do with that. But now that I have no brain fog, now that I've got the amount of clarity that I do, I am also learning how to say no to a lot of things. And I'm saying yes to myself more. And relationships are important, but I am down to fingers on hands for the number of people that I want in my life. And it's not to say that I don't want to have acquaintances and friends. I do want that, but I don't really need to surround myself with negativity. And unfortunately, in this world that we're in right now, there's a lot more of that than there used to be. I know politics plays a big part of that, but I think the biggest part of that is our food. And if there's ever any wonder why people feel the need to identify with something other than what God gave them, I think a lot of that comes from a misguided brain. You cannot starve your brain of animal fats and animal protein. Well, animal fats for your brain. You cannot starve your brain and replace it with plant matter, expecting that you're going to become healthy on the other side of that. That's impossible. God did not build our bodies that way. We are an animal. We happen to be one of the smartest animals in the kingdom. I dare say there's probably some smarter ones out there than a lot of people I know. But I think when you put gasoline in your diesel engine, you're going to break down. And the very first place you're going to break down is your brain. And I think that's what's happening to our world. I think there are a lot of people out here who are unhinged mentally because their food is affecting their brain. It causes, yes, our food is causing people to be unhealthy in ways other than physical, 100%. I think what's happening is the drive to feed ourselves with something that is bad, which is going to be a carbohydrate laden food. That's the beginning of the end of their brain. And I don't think we should be surprised anymore to see this, but we only get to be initially surprised if we get ourselves to a better place. You can't put the oxygen mask on somebody else until you put it on yourself, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I really think that's what we're dealing with. So 20 seconds, not bad for someone who couldn't even get up. Fantastic.
Right?
Way to go. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
You know how to eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Correct.
That's right.
There you go, Sirs Lioness. You got it.
One bite at a time, 1 second at a time. You know, I didn't feel like exercising at all. So I didn't. I didn't have a ton of weight to lose. I had 20 pounds to lose. I lost that. I did not exercise. It was when I got rid of all the rest of the plants and just went straight, meat, everything, and animal-based eggs, meat, bacon. I mostly beef, butter, bacon, egg, but I had all this extra energy. What am I going to do with it? Plus, I lost all the weight. What am I going to do now? Like, I got to have a goal. I have all this energy to have these goals. Like, let's do something, right? So
there you go.
That's when I started my fitness, and I'm like putting on muscle in places I didn't know I could, and all this crazy stuff. And I'm going to be 48 in just a couple weeks, and it's like I'm getting better. Not the other way. Like everybody says, oh, you're, 40's over the hill, or even 30. I hear people saying now 30, oh, you turn 30 and then stuff just falls apart and then it's just all over.
And it's true if they're eating the standard Western diet. That is 100% true.
Yes. But I didn't know any different. I mean, I just feel so blessed because I didn't know what I was in for. Like I didn't know what was in store for me at all. And then it was like, what is happening right now? What you said about brain fog completely hits home for me, because I was surrounded by it, and like having to try to fight my way out of it, and feeling like I couldn't hold a thought. And I'm supposed to be the smart one in the room. I'm supposed to be leading, 30 minds.
Well, unfortunately, you're leading 30 minds that come from families that don't think the way you do. Right. Their kids especially are now becoming byproducts of their parents' poor choices. And we've become a society where we're quite literally telling people, just eat this and you'll be fine. And take this drug and you'll be fine. And yet we're seeing kids getting fatter. They're getting stupider. My wife is a teacher, and like you, and 8th grade last year, she's teaching a group of kids. She had 8th graders who couldn't read.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. In any country, that's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And especially in a modern developed world, we should all be able to read by 8th grade. I understand if you can't do physics. I couldn't. I understand if you don't know the elements. I didn't. But let's talk about just reading a simple sentence, and they couldn't do it.
Basics.
And I'm telling you, that starts at the parental level, and it starts with the food they're letting their kids put in their mouths. Look, if UK can't do it, then why are we?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. So.
No, I get it. Like I said on our text we were doing, like I'm sure we could swap some stories. In my parent conference today, I just had to break it to a parent that, I teach 5th grade, they're 10 years old, and this child is still missing some kindergarten math standards, does not know them, is missing about half of 1st grade, is missing most of 2nd grade, and has barely even touched anything in 3rd grade. And I teach 5th grade. All that stuff's supposed to be all in his brain. We're supposed to be cranking away on 5th grade. Well, no wonder he's failing math, because I'm teaching 5th grade in my room, and he doesn't know all of kindergarten. So how is he going to do that? And we're not talking a special education student. This is not a special education student. This is a general
Wow.
education student in my room. And I will tell you, out of the 30 that I have, he's not the only one in this situation. So I
It's
have been,
sad.
yeah, I've been teaching for 23 years and I have watched them. You're right. There's more of them that are overweight. There's more of that. You should see the stuff, not only that they bring from home, but the stuff that the schools are feeding them. We're
Yeah.
talking Lucky Charms because
Oh yeah.
we give them breakfast here in California, breakfast and lunch. Lucky
Yeah.
Charms, Pop Tarts, honey buns, chocolate filled pastries, and then they get to come to my classroom. And then what am I supposed to do with that?
All
And
I
what are
heard you say was sugar, 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 sugar.
yeah,
That's what
yes,
I heard.
correct. Yes.
And that's
And
what I used to eat.
yes, and the parents don't know any different because if they did, they'll sue a school over a lot of things. Like there's a lot of lawsuits in education, especially here, but they're not suing about that. They're not upset about
Right.
that. They're not up in arms about that.
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, and I hope I don't get in trouble for doing this, but when I went to my wife's school the other day, she's now teaching in a private Christian school, and she couldn't handle the woke communities that were happening in the public schools. It was just too much for her, and the kids were just really not good products of a modern society. They were really bad products. So she moved to this Christian school, and they have a store by the front office desk, and in the refrigerator is lots of sugary drinks, and on the shelves are all potato chips, seed oils, um, granola bars that are supposedly healthy, but it probably have 25 grams of carbs per bar, and all that stuff. And it's all junk. And I'm watching these kids, and they're like little chubby kids, and they're fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade. And
Yeah.
it was hard to watch. And I talked to my wife about it, and she said, "Gosh, please don't say anything to my bosses, please." And I'm not going to. That's what this is for. This
Mm-hmm.
does the speaking.
Yeah.
This is red light, yellow light, green light. If somebody comes to me and asks me a question, I'm happy to answer. If they give me a red light, I'm happy to stop talking. If they say yellow, I'll answer questions. If they say green, watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed that I've just, there's like one friend at work that I'm really good friends with. I told her what I'm doing. I told her about my channel. And then she just kind of went out and told a few people. And the next thing I know, people are coming to me. Are you the one eating carnivore? And like, what is that? And can I do that too? And I've actually had sit down meetings with them because they asked, like you said, the green light. Like I'm not out there in their face, preaching.
Right.
She thought what I was doing was cool. She told somebody else, and then now they're circling back to me, to get information. And that's just been so cool because it's not just out here on the interwebs, where this is happening. It's like in my real life that people, they can see that I've lost weight. I know they've got to see that I'm happier. I'm smiling. I have more energy. And yeah. And then they're asking me like, what are you doing? And how do I do it? And then they ask me questions like, how many beans can I have? And I'm like, yeah, none.
How many beans can I have? Yeah.
No.
I've heard a lot of really interesting anecdotes from a lot of people. And one of the things, how kids are raised nowadays breaks my heart. This grassroots movement will become more mainstream as we can. 100% yes, Ellie. Yes. Something that I thought was really profound, I heard on my way to Austin, Texas, and it was, we are not getting older, we're getting sicker.
Yep.
And when you put that into perspective, I can tell you from firsthand, when I watch people come around the campgrounds, I watch people waddle. And being full time in this thing, I see people all the time in campgrounds. And if you see them during a school season, you're probably looking at adults. And to take it one age step further, they're probably retired if you see them this time of year at a campground during a weekday. And I see more women and more men waddling around a campground, and I really don't see them around the campground. I watch them waddle out of the camper, do their hookups, waddle back in, and then every now and then they'll walk outside with their dog, but I don't see them doing any activity. And that is a very sad statement on retired America because I'm seeing that firsthand. I know I don't have a lot of followers on YouTube. I don't have a lot of followers in the social media world, but my followers, I don't even know. They're in my rearview mirrors. They're seeing the back of the RV. They're driving by and seeing this and taking a picture, seeing this QR code on the side right there. And when they see that QR code, it takes them to my website. And then they start going down the rabbit hole on their own. And every now and then I'll get a phone call or I'll get an email or I'll get a message from someone saying, we saw you on the highway and we love what we saw. This is so cool. And tell me more. I had an hour and a half conversation with a gentleman leaving Texas when I left KetoCon, and we met at a campground in Fort Worth. And then as I'm driving out of town, he called me, and because I'd given him my phone number, and he said, Greg, what can I do? So we talked, and he texted me after our conversation. About 30 minutes later, he had just gone to lunch, and he texted me and said, I just had 6 burger patties from In-N-Out. That's brilliant. That's what I like to hear.
Love it.
People are taking the knowledge and they're turning it into their own power, and they're writing their story. And that's what they need to do. To every doctor in America who happens to see this, to every pharmacist, to every drug rep who sees this, shame on you if you didn't take the oath of helping someone get off of their meds. Shame on you if you're not treating the problem rather than the symptom, because that's not what life is about. You don't call up a roofer and they come over and put a patch on your roof if you need a whole roof. A patch is going to bring them back next week and the week after and the week after. Shame on that roofer. That's not the way this works. Fix the problem.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure you can see I popped up your channel here. If you're on right now, or if you're watching this later, please go and subscribe. You're up to 200 now. That's awesome. So
that's great.
Yeah, youtube.com /@ the RVCarnivore is his channel. Please go on and subscribe. I'm looking forward to that Dr. Boz interview.
It's great.
Yeah. I'm hoping myself and Ellie, who you've chatted with a couple times already, just right now you've seen Ellie, and then another, my friend Lindsay, we do a show called Lioness Lifestyle Live, and it's focused on women's health. And we want to start getting some of these doctors like Dr. Boz. I haven't reached out to her yet, but I'm hoping she'll come on and talk to us because, I just feel like that's super important. So yeah, I'm excited to see your interview with her because I've been watching her for a really long time too. She was like, after I got done with Dr. Barry, like Dr. Boz was my next stop. Going down the rabbit hole.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it can be a very deep rabbit hole. It depends on how far we want to go, but yeah, you're doing a great job. Thank you for the opportunity to do this interview. And Faith, as a retiree, almost 70, I am so grateful to all of you for being willing to share. I want to be healthy at 70. Yes, absolutely. You're not going to get older. You're just going to get healthier.
Yes. So Faith, remind me. I know Greg's got to go.
I don't have to go. I'm retired. I can do this all night.
Well, awesome.
But you've got obligations.
A few. I joke because my friends that have younger kids, I'm like, yeah, mine are teenagers. They feed themselves.
That's right.
They're just gonna feed themselves. It's kind of nice. There's some downsides of having teenagers sometimes, like the attitude.
Sure. Sure.
But the upside is they can do a lot of stuff on their own. So that's nice. But so if you have a second, then Faith, I just want to encourage you, Faith. My mom is 70. She actually just turned 71 yesterday. And she went meat-based keto after I did. So I went meat-based keto in February, and then she followed me in March. She has lost over 20 pounds. She was already walking every day, but now I can't even remember. I think she's getting 15,000 steps a day because now she's preparing for 2 international trips. She was having some arthritis in her hands. She no longer feels arthritis in her hands at all. Her hands are completely pain-free, all movements, all good. It doesn't feel stiff anymore. She lives in a retirement community with, the 55 and up people. And she helps them weed their garden. She can sit down on the ground, pull weeds, and then stand back up. Some 70, if they're on the ground, they need help to get up or they're not getting up, I've fallen and I can't get up. Right. Yeah. That's not her. She can get back up. The other day, and sorry if you've all heard this, but this amazed me. She was on her walk and she was like, yeah, I had so much energy. I just thought I'd jog for a little while. So there's that, Faith. Let me just inspire you. And I've seen you in a lot of my lives, and you just keep me posted because you can be healthy at 70. And my mom is like, she's 71 and she's like reversing things like the arthritis in her hands. She's not on any medication. So she's just, I mean, she's living life. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. She's inspiring. I'm trying to get her to come on Lioness with me. She's a little nervous to come and talk to you guys. I'm like, they're nice. It's okay.
Well, that's what makes Dr. Boz's story so beautiful, is because her mom was a part of her life in the keto space.
Yes.
And Any Way You Can is the name of her book. And I highly recommend, you should almost start a book club of everybody reading Any Way You Can.
Yes.
I mean, why not let's go back to the olden days when we had book clubs, right?
A book club is you know what? I'm a teacher and I endorse this message.
Can we buy the hard copy instead of on your phone and read paper, like actually look at paper?
Yes. Yeah. She's talked about Any Way You Can, and I will fully admit I have not read it, but like
it'll make you cry.
Yeah, 100%. She's told that story, and yes, I would like to read that. I just might do that on your advice, Greg. That might kick me to go purchase that and read that.
Good.
Because yeah,
good.
I think that will be amazing. Well,
I can tell you that the last visual I had of my father, he was talking to him via what's it called? FaceTime. Are you there?
You're there, but you're still. I can hear you. But you're frozen.
Are we still here?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're frozen. Oh, there we go. I see you now.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I'll just keep talking and hope that you can hear me. The last visual I had of my father, he was eating ice chips and drinking Coca-Cola from a spoon. And then he passed away within a couple of hours. And I was holding my mom's hand when she took her last breath and was with her all the way through. She had died of metastatic breast cancer. And the doctors and hospice were feeding her Ensure. So I've got bugs here. Sorry, I've got a light. So I can tell you that in the very end of life, people are being fed sugar, and we can prolong their lives by getting them off of it. So yeah, it's important. It's really important to me. So
yeah. Well,
not being Debbie Downer or anything.
No, I know. Let's not end on that note.
Yeah, no. I just shot a new video today, and I wanted to speak about this real quick.
Please.
It's on Instagram, and I found that if I post shorts on Instagram, they're like 1 minute and 30 seconds max. If I post those, I can probably get more things out. And the reason why I haven't gotten Dr. Boz's interview out is because I did 2 cameras, 2 microphones, different positions. It was overwhelming. It wasn't as simple as what we're doing now. That's why I haven't put it out, because I'm still trying to field how to properly edit it. I've finally gotten it done. I've gotten all the audio levels right. I will not do that again. It was way too much work. But I read something yesterday that made me realize production over perfection. Just get it out there, because that's what people need to see. So I'm at fault. And Dr. Boz, if you're seeing this, I'm very, very sorry. And I do plan to do an apology video at the beginning of what's coming out. But today I shot a very quick video. And I'm constantly asked, and somebody asked me last night, so it reminded me, what's my opinion about grass-finished beef over industrial beef? And that's a really good question for people to ask. Do we have time to go into this?
Yeah, let's go into it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, good. So the way I explain this is I have a plastic cup that's clear, and I poured a Coca-Cola into it. And then I set that in front of the camera, and I said, the very first thing you should do in your life is get rid of this and change it for water. And then one day you're going to figure out that water should probably be filtered. That's a better step. And then beyond that, you need to take it out of the plastic and put it into glass, because that's the next best step. So if you can make those progressions in your life with something as simple as water, that's a really good start. But if somebody comes to me and says, well, wait a minute, what kind of meat? Because I can't afford that grass-finished stuff. Okay, if you're putting down the Oreos and the Doritos and the Coca-Cola to eat an industrial beef that came from Walmart, you're already on a good start. So let's do that. Then, when you realize that you're not needing all these other plants to go with your food because you don't eat the sides, you're not hungry for them, now you can start really looking at what your budget allows and start paying for the grass finished varieties, the organic varieties from whoever you get it from, whether it's White Oak Pastures, thank you, Will Harris, and Jenny Harris, or you're getting it from Wyoming Cowboy Cuts, whoever you get it from, make it local. Because if you buy local, you're supporting your local farmer. Because the day that Albertsons or I'm trying to remember the name of the big chain that's out in California besides Kroger, the day those close because of COVID, go down to your local farmer and buy your eggs and your bacon and your meat from your local farmer, because that's where it really begins.
Yeah.
And that's true farm to your table, not just farm to anybody else's table. So my point is, it's baby steps. How do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. We start by not overwhelming people, because if you really want to get deep in the woods, now we're saying don't hold your cell phone, get a Faraday cage for your bedroom, or make a Faraday cage out of your bedroom. Stop using certain deodorant, stop using soap, stop using bleach. You can really scare somebody back into remission. And they say, you know what? I'm going back to the carb life because y'all are scaring me. You're freaking me out.
Mm-hmm.
So I just say, take it easy. So see that video on my Instagram channel and drop a comment. Tell me what you think about that. Because again, I'm not doing everything for the gram. I'm not doing everything for social media, but it does have an important side. There are metrics. However, that can be canceled.
Yeah.
It can be canceled because of AI. Somebody says, oh, well, we're a vegan and we don't believe in what you're doing. So, pardon me, we're going to cancel your page. We're going to limit, pardon me, we're going to throttle your viewers. They're not going to be able to see you. You hear that? You can't cancel that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I do what I do.
So you just sparked me to just remind everybody, I have this new thing where I want to go out and start talking to those very farmers you were talking about. And I did my first interview. Oh my gosh, I did not have a microphone, Greg. And the chickens were louder than we were, because where I was a pasture raised egg farm. And we were outstanding in her field. And we were talking about why she started, raising eggs this way and all of this. I mean, it was a great interview with a lot of great content. She was super knowledgeable, but I did not have microphones. And yeah, the chickens were the whole time. But hey, that was real. And you know what you said? I tried to figure out a way. I am not that good. I tried to find a way to edit those chickens. I couldn't do it. I'm like, you know what? Chickens are going to stay in there. Dang it. And I put it out there, and go take a look at it if you want. But it is
I
great.
will.
My next plan is to go to a grass-fed beef place. And my brother and I have not been doing grass-fed beef up to now. I bought it a couple times, but it's expensive like that. So my brother, my mom, and I are going to share a half a cow, and I'm also going to interview the farmer. So this is like something that I want to start doing, is going to these local places. Because even if you're following me and you're somewhere like my friend Aaron, who's 3,000 miles away on the East Coast, that, you could maybe, if I can find somebody around here, maybe you can find somebody around where you are. And it's also, I didn't know what I didn't know about pasture raised eggs.
And you're educating yourself.
Absolutely. And hopefully other people in the process. It was super interesting. I couldn't believe everything that goes into it with their feed and the amount of time they get outside and how that can differ. Like there's pasture raised and then there's truly pasture raised, right?
Yes.
So she was educating us on the difference between that and how it's important, how they get vitamin D because they put it into their eggs. I mean, wow, it was a lot. And so it was just super. And I will tell you, those eggs are $9 a dozen. And I bought a flat, and I was happy to do it. This little family of 6. You see these 4 little kids just running around this egg farm, and I'm like, here's my money. I want
take my money.
Take my money. Like, I mean, I get pasture raised, from the store, and it's about $5 a dozen.
I'm scared to tell you what they are here in the mountains.
Don't tell me. I'll probably cry. Wow. So triple. Well, you got to understand we're in California.
No, 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 no.
Triple.
$3 a
That's what
dozen.
I mean. Mine were triple. Mine were 9,
Oh
so
yeah,
mine
yeah,
were
yeah,
triple of yours. Yes. So in
yeah.
California, first of all, there's a markup just for living here. Let me just tell you that right now.
What part of California are you in?
I'm in Southern California, about halfway between Los Angeles and San Diego.
Oh, you're the water stealers. Are you Temecula area?
Temecula area, you got it.
Okay. Well, all of
The
my
water
family settled
stealers.
Milpitas. We
Okay.
settled the valley south of San Francisco and Oakland in the
Okay.
valley. That was our family had we had the biggest pear orchard west of the Mississippi. So, but we did it all, dairy, everything. We did it all. So,
Wow.
yep.
Amazing.
Sold it out years ago and invested in San Francisco real estate instead in Silicon Valley. So, yep, we had all the water and you guys stole it all. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I only have 4 people in my family. We did not steal it all.
If there's anybody watching this from Northern California, they're probably laughing and saying yes.
Yeah, just
I
give us
interview
all
my
4.
local farmer too, but my hubby is taking so long to edit for the same reasons. Okay, Rhonda. So
Right?
tell him production over perfection. Now that I know those 3 words, I know what to do. So, and the more he does it, the faster he'll get at it. So, don't get me started on prices. A dozen eggs in Alaska.
Yeah, like I've heard about like with Bill in Alaska, like I don't know if you guys follow Bill in Alaska and his amazing weight loss journey that he started, but he's in Alaska. And
Uh-huh.
yes, what I hear, the meat and all that is just, I mean, just crazy expensive up there. And yes, this is my
Wow.
friend Copper Carnivore Kitchen. She's in Alaska and yeah, wow.
So I have to ask the question: is it too difficult to raise your own, to have chickens, manage the feed, and do it yourself? Is it impossible because of circumstance? Is it the weather? Is it the proximity? Do you live in the city? Is there a way that you can create? Okay, up there, yes. I just wondered if there was a way that you could do like a group effort, kind of like when you said buying a cow. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what if we did the same thing? So, yeah,
Oh, she's saying it's the weather. I too much
yeah,
winter up there for those chickens, maybe.
yeah. So
Yeah.
do they fly in all of your eggs up in Alaska? I'm just curious because I don't know Alaska well enough to be able to answer this myself, and I don't trust Google answers anymore. So I love hearing this.
Yeah. If she's going to answer, she'll probably answer. But hey, here you go. This is my friend Rhonda. Yes, she's
Rhonda gets
Rhonda. Just blame us all down here for stealing all the water. We're sorry.
that's funny. That's funny.
Oh my goodness.
This is wonderful. This is what I love about the carnivore life. Yes, mostly or barge them in. Okay, Anchorage. Just curious. Yeah, I think there's a good question to ask farmers around the country about how they source their food and what they do in the lean times, which would be in the cold. So there in Anchorage, okay.
Yeah.
Um, I had an interesting conversation with the people at Wyoming Cowboy Cuts. I was actually supposed to be at that event with Dr. Chafee. I was going to backstop it with brisket. He was a guest celebrity judge for their steak cook-off. And I'm all about steak cook-offs. Don't take me to a barbecue cook-off. I mean, I'm not saying no, but people are so proud of their sauces, and I don't need sauce. I need salt, butter, salt, pepper, and butter. That's it. Um,
Boom.
so what he was explaining to me at Wyoming was we do mail order. So if you want to order one of our beef packages, we're happy to ship it to you. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with you to find a local source so that you can support your local farmer. And I thought, my gosh, that's the answer. It doesn't need to be a mail order thing. It needs to be a collective of supporting each other. Because even though that might take away business from people like White Oak Pastures or from, gosh, I can't remember the other name, the Indian Fork, I can't remember, but Wild Fork Foods. The thing is, if you're supporting your local farmer, then it will pay itself back to you some way. I dropped my subscription to ButcherBox several years ago when I discovered their meat was coming from Australia.
Yeah, it is. The farmer that we're gonna get our half cow from, they don't even have a website. Like you have to either call or like text them to, or they don't even have a website. That's how small it is. I'm like, that's what I want to do. Those
Yes.
people, you
You want to
know,
pick up your tin can and you want to talk to them across a Campbell's
period,
soup can. I mean,
period.
literally.
And
Yeah.
my mom called over there to ask about it, and then also for me mentioned my channel and can I interview them, and they were like skeptical. They're like, we've had PETA come and call and pretend to be customers and then come and give us a hard time.
Wow.
And then my mom kind of knows the parents of them, and so she was like, well, I'm so and so and I know your mom so and so, and then they were like, okay, this is okay, yes, Christy can come and talk to us. But if my mom had that little like I kind of know your mom thing going on, like nope, so PETA literally has done that, which I just think is sad. Like, don't they have anything better to do? Like, I'll allow them their beliefs, but I'm not going to go to their house and harass them.
Correct.
But they'll come to this farm and just harass the farmers.
Well, and I think it's very important that that's why you have the relationship with these farmers, is because you have to know that you can trust them and they have to know they can trust you. And if you're in their system, if you are in their Rolodex, so to speak, when the hard times hit, then yes, you absolutely should have that relationship, because then they're going to remember you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%.
It's literally no different than knowing the butcher at your local meat market. It's the same thing. Yeah. When they know you and you ask for a favor, like, and my favors at a butcher shop are, will you sell me 5 pounds of the fat trimmings from your ribeye? That's the kind of favors I look for.
Try to do. I'm excited to do that.
Oh, and I have to show you guys something super cool. Can I show you this?
Thank you, Ellie. Yes, show us. What do you have to show us?
Okay, Ellie, here we go.
To you.
Everybody gets to walk inside my RV for a second, and you get to see where I live. And if you went to KetoCon, you got to see all this. Okay, we're going to open up my refrigerator, and I'm going to show you something that I just discovered the other day, and it is fantastic. And I didn't realize that companies did this, but the company is, let's close that back up and save. Does that show? I am holding.
It looks like it's fat, but I can't read anything. I can't read what it says.
Yeah, I'll read it to you. This is from a company called Mariah, and this is 3 pounds of sliced bacon ends and pieces. Now,
yes, bacon ends and pieces. Carrie, are you still on? I was telling Carrie about the bacon ends and pieces from my grocery store. They're so cheap and delicious.
Oh my gosh. I don't care what my bacon looks like when I eat it. I think I'm going to stay inside. It's getting very chilly out here.
Okay, sorry. I'm just.
Should I show her again?
You're like my friend now, because she's like, what? Bacon ends and pieces? What are you talking about, Christy? And I'm like, no, bacon ends and pieces, though.
Right there.
Carrie, have you seen this? Carrie's still on.
Okay, yes. 3 pounds of bacon ends and pieces. And does it taste like bacon? Well, yes, it's bacon. Yep. Yes. Are they pieces? Well, yes, they are. Yes. And is there a bad piece of bacon? The one that hit the floor that you didn't grab before your dog got it. That's the bad piece of bacon. So there it is. Yes, it is a fantastic solution. I'm sorry, guys. This is live TV, right? I'm moving inside because it got very cold outside. It's probably 50 right now.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Winter is coming very quickly. So the bacon ends and pieces was fantastic. I will admit there is one plant that I eat, sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut and bacon. Have you ever had that?
I haven't. I've been thinking about incorporating some kimchi though, because I used to eat kimchi, and I know it's like fermented, and I used to love it. My grandfather, he's my step grandfather, but he was Korean. And I did all the time at family gatherings. We would do like the flanken ribs, like Korean style with kimchi. And I thought, I've heard Dr. Sean O'Mara talking about the fermented stuff. And I thought, if I ever incorporate any vegetables back in, it would, I think, be some kimchi. And I think sauerkraut's, it's like the German route, right? But it's like the fermented. It is. Yeah.
It is. Now, I don't make my own. I'm not that sophisticated. I'm really good at spending my money sometimes, and I don't mind spending my money on that. And I can just tell you that it's my go-to snack. If it's not a piece of butter, which is my also other go-to snack. I love bacon and sauerkraut. It is amazing. Hot or
So
cold, it doesn't matter.
So Sir's Lioness agrees with you. She says she loves sauerkraut and bacon if the cabbage is cooked right. And my friends are going to laugh because I'm putting in the comments right now. You said butter. I have this thing, hashtag bite butter. Like I'm working on my shirt that says hashtag bite butter because all of us,
Nice.
of course, we have our bite butter. It would just go.
Right. That is right. That's so funny.
That's my
Yeah,
thing.
it's of course we get bored eating certain things, and I get that, but um I much prefer being bored over being bored laying in a hospital room.
Being
So
bored, yeah, I've been there. I don't want to. Yeah, that's terrible. And I'll tell you, I do get bored sometimes of ground beef. I do. I'm kind of off ground beef right
sure.
now. But I don't get bored of ribeye. I have yet to find a day where I'm like, no ribeye today. I don't think so. Or picanha. Picanha is my other
I
one. Sirloin cap.
I'm I'm bored of ribeye right now.
You're
I
bored
know
of
it sounds
ribeye?
crazy, but I'm bored of ribeye. Yeah.
How
I'm
long have you been carnivore? Because I've been carnivore since June, and I'm like very worried about this day that I'm going to get bored of ribeye.
um it's possible. It's I don't I tend to stick with one thing for too long, and I'm trying to change that up right now. And I am incorporating some chicken back into my diet. I don't really love it, but it's just but I have learned how to make really good chicken. I make really good pork chops. My pork chops you can cut with a fork.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
and I do eat some ham, but not much. I do eat more bacon, but ground beef and eggs I love.
Yeah.
I still eat cheese. I don't necessarily go for raw cheeses, so it's not the best thing in the world for me, but I don't suffer from that. I get a runny nose from being cold outside, not from eating cheese. Um, but I do try to vary things up because lately I'm not good with eating a ribeye constantly. It's almost a little saturating, I guess is a word. So I just did a month of ground beef and eggs. Only couldn't wait to throw a roast in the slow cooker. Well, and thank you for saying a roast because that's the other thing that I'm doing is I am doing roasts, and I know I'm not supposed to do it, but I use what is the brown gravy mix, and I've got a package of it in my drawer right now. I put just a little bit of that with it, or I do the French onion soup mix. And I know it's got ingredients in there that are not good for me. But again, I'm going back to what I was saying. Beats the heck out of a bag of Doritos and a bag of Oreos.
That's absolutely true.
So I'll take the little bit of a hit that I get from that. So yeah, it's I still love my red meat. I will always love my red meat, but I am changing it up a little bit just because I am getting a little bit tired of it. Not a lot,
Yeah.
but a little bit.
Well, I found a couple of recipes. So, like, I make these carnivore muffins that are made with pork panko and butter and an egg and a little bit of baking powder. And you just put it in like it's kind of almost like a mug cake, but it's not a cake. It just has those ingredients, and then you just microwave it for a minute and a half, and it makes this like muffin. I made one yesterday,
Wow.
and I put butter on it, and it's kind of the consistency. It doesn't taste like a corn muffin, but it's like the consistency of a corn muffin. If you remember those, like
Okay. Yeah.
because it's the pork
Oh,
panko.
I remember them.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I trust me. But like sometimes, so I'll have that with like my bacon and eggs. About once a week. They're super easy to make. You just like put with a fork, just 3 tablespoons of the pork panko, an egg, a tablespoon of melted butter, like a quarter teaspoon of baking powder. Just mix that all with a fork. 90 seconds in the microwave, and you have yourself a little muffin. So
That's
I do
interesting.
stuff like that so that that helps me keep from like, if I get a little, I don't really have a boredom issue, but anyway, that's how I get a little variety. Rhonda, I'm curious, when did you try that picanha? Because I'm like the picanha preacher, man. I'm like, picanha, it's so good. Everyone's like, what's picanha? I'm like, sirloin cap. And if you don't find it, go to your butcher counter and ask for it because they'll do it for you. It's so stinking good. I'm just curious when you tried that, Rhonda, because yeah, I make one every Saturday and that's what I eat. Like, I'm so excited for Saturday already. Like, I took my picanha out right before this to unthaw for Saturday.
That's awesome. How do
Yeah.
you cook yours? How do you prepare yours?
Okay, I have a recipe on my channel, so my channel for full recipe, but It's like a roast kind of a deal. So it's like between 2 to like 3.5 pounds. I just
Okay.
take my Redmond's real salt, the smoked salt. So the hickory smoked salt. I don't really measure because I do. Yes, thank you. Anita did drop a video today, and I can't wait to watch it because we were talking. I was on with Ketogenic Woman, Anita, and she talked about how she got some picanha steaks, like not in a roast, and she was going to cook those up. And so I've never heard of that before. So yes, go check. I got to go check that out too. I'm excited. She cooked it in a cast iron pan. Hi, puppy. Okay,
This
so
is
my
Finn.
roast, he's cute. So my roast, so I just take with my hands, I just rub all the salt in really good. The hickory smoked salt, like I said, I don't measure. I just nice and salty. And then I take butter. I just like soften it a little bit in the microwave. So it's not, it's not melted, but it's softened. And then I just I slather it just all around with butter, put it in like just something that's going to hold all those drippings and all that butter. 500-degree oven for 5 minutes for each pound. So if it's 2 pounds, it would be 10 minutes. And then you turn the oven off. You turn the oven off, but you don't open the door. You just let it ride in there for 2 hours. After 2 hours, the oven has been off. You open it up. The outside is all like, it's got a good crust on it from the 500-degree blast. But the inside is just like pink and juicy and yummy all the way through. And then like the butter and salt and like the meat juice is all together kind of in the bottom. And you just pour that over the top. I mean, come on. And I'm not a cook or a chef, you guys. It doesn't like disappoint me ever. It comes out consistently every time. And
that's awesome.
It takes time because of the 2 hours, but like the prep is like 5 minutes because you just like put that stuff on and stick it in the oven and just let it do its thing.
That's really cool.
That's how I do it. And it's the best. It beats a ribeye, I think. And that's hard to say because I love ribeye.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, do you seal it when you put it? Do you put it in a baking dish and then wrap it with aluminum foil?
No,
and it's keeping the heat in, or it's just open?
No, it's just open in the oven. Now, I will say that my oven, it's like just a free range, like a stand oven. It's not like a built-in oven, but it is like a double oven. So I don't know if that makes it, so it's not a big cavern of an oven because it's like 2 smaller ovens. So I will say that I do have that. So I don't know if it makes a difference, but my mom makes it and she doesn't have that. I think she just has like a regular oven, but I told her about it. Now she makes that on a regular basis too, because she likes it. So I know you don't wrap it or anything. You just, because you want the heat all to get to that and make that crust on the outside.
Really good. Really now you Californians are also really well known for your tri-tips. Do you eat that as well?
Yes. Tri-tip is lean.
It is. It's very lean.
I'm not like, I mean, if other people made it, I might eat it, but
yeah,
that's about it. It's a little bit lean for me and a little bit, you're right. Tri-tip is a big deal here, but I've never really gotten into it too much.
Yeah.
I like the picanha because it has the fat cap on top, and it's about a quarter to a half inch of just like fat on top. It's so good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to have to try picanha then. I've done it before, but I didn't do it the way you did. So I'm going to try yours instead.
This is the only way I've ever done it because I saw a recipe. I modified it a little bit to make it my own. I think it had like garlic powder in there. I took that out. I'm like, just give me the smoked salt and the butter. So I modified the recipe a little bit, but it's on my channel if you want to watch me do it. But I'm not a cook or a chef, and it's perfect every time. So
good to know. Thank you. There's a go ahead. What did you say?
I said, if I can do it, anyone can. Like, I have no talent in the kitchen. That's not my thing.
That's awesome. I met Mary and Larry at the Burns, Tennessee event, and they turned me on to a smoked salt, garlic powder, or smoked salt, garlic, and pepper. And it's a finishing salt, and it is spectacular. So no harmful ingredients unless, you consider the garlic and the pepper to be harmful, but it's smoked salt, and it was really, really good. About $9 for 4 ounces or 5 ounces on Amazon. So not horrible.
What was the brand?
Oh, I will just have to get it for you.
Was it Redmond? I mean, most of my stuff that I have now is Redmond's,
Yeah, most of my stuff is also Redmond. Yeah. This wasn't. This is it's right here.
Okay.
Try to hold that in front of the camera.
Okay. Oh, I see it.
Bourbon smoked garlic salt. That's what it is.
Oh, that might be worth a try.
It is. I
That,
can just tell you, I can tell you 100%. It is phenomenal. It's
yeah.
a seasoning or it's a finishing salt, so you're not supposed to cook with it.
Okay.
You're just supposed to sprinkle it on for the flavor. But I've done it. I like to dry brine my steaks,
Okay.
and and I like to use that. And I also do use the Redmond, but I do like that because it's and I forgot it's the bourbon smoked. And it does have a slight bourbon taste, but of course, there's no alcohol in that. So um,
Right.
it's just, I think they're using bourbon barrels for their smoker. So
Oh, okay. Well, I just
yeah,
wrote that down. I'm gonna get some just to switch it up because I've been doing the Redmond's hickory salt, smoked salt. I have the
yeah.
Redmond's seasoned salt and then just the sea salt.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm with you, Sirs Lioness. I'm getting hungry. I'm making myself hungry.
I am too, and I've already eaten.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have some hamburger patties with some eggs and some butter, and maybe I think I have some bacon left. I think I'll just do all the 4 food groups: beef, butter, bacon, egg, burger. Yeah.
There you go. Do you ever eat hot sausage?
I mean, yes, but not really since doing this. Like I haven't incorporated that back. It's hard to find a clean one that I can afford.
Sure. I was just going to recommend, though, that if you want to change things up a little bit, I use hot sausage and I blend. Usually it's like a almost a 3-to-1 blend. So 3 parts beef to 1 part of the hot sausage and make your burger out of that. Do not put it on your grill. It will catch fire. Put it in a griddle, make a smash burger from it. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
There is such a great flavor that comes from that. And if you want to get really nutty, you make your breakfast patties out of that. And now you've got that with cheese, if you like cheese, and an egg. And now you've got basically the McGriddle from McDonald's minus the maple syrup. It's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing flavor. It's really good.
That's
So,
super awesome. I'm
so
also
hot
writing.
sausage.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sirs Lioness, I just want to let you know I don't think that I follow you on Instagram, and I'm a baby Instagram person. Like I only got an Instagram for the messaging feature, and now I've started posting for some reason. And so I guess I'm on Instagram too, but I don't know the difference between like a reel and like I gotta tell my students. I'm like, students, let's have a recess talk. Teach me about Instagram, like because they know. So I'm just writing down Sirs Lioness that I can go follow you on Instagram. She's a baby Instagrammer too. Yes. Gen Z, man. I mean, Gen Z knows it. I got to ask them because I'm Gen X. What the heck do I know? Nothing
That's
about
right.
Instagram. I'll tell you
We
that.
don't know anything.
Nothing about Instagram for sure. All right. Well, you know what? It is my dinner time. Oh, past my dinner time. That's okay though. But I am pretty hungry, and I know it's getting late where you are too, Greg. And I want you to get your rest.
Thank you.
So,
Well, Christy, this was awesome.
this was awesome. I would like to do it again. You've been just I was so excited because I saw you on Alia, like I said, and I just couldn't wait to like, hear from you in person and be able to interact with you too, instead of just listening.
Well,
So,
thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
thank
And
you.
I just want to say to anybody out there who's watching this, if you follow me or mention me or say something in a comment, if I don't get back to you, it's not because I don't want to. It's because I am so overwhelmed. I'm not like Benazati that has a cameraman and an editor, and I don't have a whole lot of time for all that. So my apologies if you don't get a direct response from me, send me a direct message. I'm happy to respond. I will never be too big to not talk to people. That's what this is all about. So
Try to answer
pardon.
every comment on my channel too. Like I know someday I might get too big to do it, but right now I'm very because that's what I'm doing this for. Like I want to
Right.
hear stories. I don't want to feel alone. And so
Right.
it's like, yeah, it's like let's all just people put stuff in. I get right back to them. So I'm like you too. If you message me and if I don't see it, I do apologize. But like, yeah, send it to me again because I try to answer everybody. That's what this is all about. So I
That's
appreciate
right.
that. Yeah.
Right on. Right on. Well,
So
Christy, and then everybody that was in this chat, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. I really
yeah,
enjoyed
thanks
this
so
interview.
much. Enjoy Georgia.
Oh, I will. I am
It's
absolutely
beautiful.
enjoying it.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you again soon, Greg. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye. Okay, I'm ending
Bye.
the stream. We all know this all takes